Hey guys and replay viewers. I'm tuning in a little bit later than I'd hoped, but I was out later today than I expected. Oh, hey Rebecca, I wasn't sure if you could come or not. This is the scope that a lot of you have been waiting for, and I'm going to talk about cash versus debit cards and credit. And this is the one that I get the most. I love Mom Boutique. Oh, there you are too. Yay! This is the one I get the most pushback from, believe it or not. Hello, Rad8201. If you're new here, let me know. Let me turn this. So, watching live, yay! And it's night, and I don't have good lighting in here, so I apologize for that. So maybe this is okay. Is this okay? If it's not okay, let me know. I'll go somewhere else. So if you're new, let me know. And my name is Stacy from stacymakesense.com, and I just got back from getting my hair did. And that's why I'm a few minutes late, because I had to wait a long time. So, at least for the first... Oh, yay, Rebecca. Oh, yay. Hi, Robin. I'm glad to see you guys here. So, as usual, at the beginning of my scope, I want to tell you guys about someone that I followed to see if it's of any interest to you and to see if you would like to follow them as well. Yeah, hair did. I've always said hair did since college. That's what my college roommate always said. She was going to get her hair did. Hey, Jenna. That's what she always said. I'm going to get my hair did. And so that's just one of those things I picked up, and now, 12 and a half years later, I'm still saying it. I got my hair did. See? It was getting too long. So, today I'm going to tell you guys about, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to talk, let me get it closer. Amy Lynn Andrews. Pocketbook is where it's at. Okay, and you can take a screenshot right now if you want. Amy Lynn Andrews is oh, LaDonna, bless your heart, sweet pea. I just love you. I just love you. Okay, Amy Lynn Andrews has a blog that basically teaches you how to start your own blog. But whenever she periscopes, she does a wide range of topics. But her blog will actually teach you how to write an ebook and teach you how to set up your blog. But then she does a few periscopes about Ask Amy, where you can just ask her random questions about blogging or otherwise. So if you're a blogger or you are an aspiring blogger, you definitely want to check out and follow Amy Lynn Andrews on Periscope. And I'm not sure if that's her handle on Instagram or not, but I do know that she also blogs under this name. Hair did is a Virginia thing? No, my roommate was from Georgia, so it's probably not a Virginia thing. So, today we're going to talk about cash versus debit. I said this was the topic that I get the most pushback from, so that's what we're going to cover today, and I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, and you might have a lot of questions, which could probably spur another Periscope. So, Barry and I have been married for 12 and a half years, and we have been using... You thought it was a black thing. I think it is. Well, my roommate was from Georgia, and she grew up down there, and I grew up here. So I'm country, and I don't say, I don't say hair did. Nobody around here says hair did. I got it from my Georgia roommate. So Barry and I have been married for 12 and a half years, and we have been using a cash budget from day one. So we actually budgeted right before we got married, and we knew how much cash we were taking on our honeymoon, and we took cash budget on our honeymoon. So we started out from day one. So all I have ever used is cash. So the idea of using debit is a foreign concept to me. However, I do understand it, and Barry does counsel people who use it. So I do know quite a bit about it. And today we're going to talk about why Barry and I recommend you to use cash instead of debit or credit, even though a lot of people find it to be weird. I come in contact with people all the time who say, I never carry cash. I don't even know. I just don't ever have cash on me. And I feel naked if I don't have cash on me. Like I'm afraid I'm going to have an emergency. So, the reason that we recommend carrying cash instead of relying on your debit or credit card is because cash is very personal. Dave Ramsey likes to say that if you carry around a $50 bill with Ben, I think it's Ben Franklin on it, that becomes very personal to you. He becomes like your Uncle Ben, and you don't want to part with your Uncle Ben. And that's the truth. When I have money in my hand and I'm thinking about making a purchase, it's like this, and I don't want to pry it out of my, don't take my money. But I have found, even for myself, it is way easier for me to swipe my card. It's not as personal as if I have cash in my hand. A debit card is just a piece of plastic. It's not as personal. So it's easy for you to spend more. Now, you will spend less with cash. Studies have proven that. Now, we'll go over in just a minute. Yes, it does me the same. Well, a lot of people tell me that they spend more when they have cash, but I'll go over that in just a second. You actually spend less when you have cash, and studies have proven that. I took some notes for you guys just so you would believe what I had to say. Okay, so studies show that you spend 18% less on purchases overall if you use cash instead of a debit. Now, that is taken from a wide survey of people over, all of the United States. But that is the average, that you will spend 18% more if you swipe your card versus if you carry cash. That's a good, motivator right there for me. And actually, if you're eating out at a restaurant, studies show that you will spend 42% more if you use debit instead of cash, because, you're like, oh, hey, well, here I've got $20 cash. I have to make do with tip with what I'm going to eat with this $20. Whereas if you have debit, you might be like, oh, hey, I think I'll have a Coke. And hey, let's bring on dessert. Might as well. And let's tip them big, buddy. Let's tip them big. I'm a big tipper, and I would rather eat piddly and tip big. Yes, 42% is huge. I mean, think about your bill. That's almost double what most people will pay if they're using plastic, even a debit, than if they just have cash in hand. So that's a huge statistic, and I'm about to blow your mind even more. Did you know most vending machines will now take credit and debit cards? And studies show that if you use a credit or debit card at a vending machine, you will spend 178% more than you would if you had cash or coins in your hand. So, I love getting gift cards for Christmas, especially just for that. That's how we eat at Chick-fil-A all the time. So, yes, 178% more at vending machines. So, it's not just some people. It's a majority of people, okay? There may be a few people here and there who do okay, but that is not the norm. The norm is to spend more with a card, okay? Oh, the credit card machines scare me, actually. So the first question I get when I tell people that I carry, and we just fixed our cash envelopes today, so I'll open that and show you. I get people asking me, are you scared to carry that much cash around with you? Well, I really only have a large amount of cash for the first of the month, and then it goes pretty quick because by the first month I need to go to the grocery store, so it's dwindles very quickly. So we don't get out that much cash because we have entertainment, grocery, gifts, and miscellaneous is all that I get out in cash. So do I feel safe carrying that cash with me all the time? Yes. I do not feel any more unsafe carrying cash than I do carrying a debit card or even a credit card, which we do have, and I'll discuss that at the end. I'm not scared to carry cash. If someone wants to rob me and take my cash, they can have my cash. There's going to be more problems if they take my driver's license or, okay, I'll repeat them, if they take my driver's license or my debit or credit, then I have to worry about, stop accounts and contacting the bank and the credit card company, whereas if somebody just takes my cash, they just take my cash. So am I more worried about carrying cash than debit? Absolutely not. And our bank, our debit card is backed by Visa, so even if it is stolen, I still am offered the same protections with my debit as I would be if I had a credit card. So let me show you. Whoop. I tried to. There we go. So I'll keep my checkbook in the back like I showed you guys, and I can show you my wallet again in a minute. Or you can see the replay of it last night at katch.me/StacyMakesSense. So I've got entertainment and grocery and miscellaneous, which this is paper products or personal things like that, because I don't like that's personal things like deodorant or toothpaste. I don't like it coming out of grocery. So I've got miscellaneous, and then I have gifts right here in the back, and we just filled our envelopes up today. So as you can see, when you really think about it in the scheme of things, you have more in your account or your credit than you would have in cash carrying around on your person. And so that's why it has never scared me. And then in the other side of my wallet is my insurance and driver's license and SAM card and stuff like that. So I'm not scared to carry this around, especially with cash in it. It doesn't bother me at all. So there's that aspect. Now, I have been told that people are worried about carrying cash because they're afraid they're going to spend it all. They say, oh my goodness, it burns a hole in my pocket and I just can't hang on to it. And I go to the store and it's like, oh, I see that thing and I have to have it and I have cash in my hand so I know I can buy it. Well, let me tell you something. Do you know how many times that's going to happen to you if all you get out is cash and that is all you have? And at the beginning of the month, you go on a spending spree and then 2 weeks later, you need to go. Was that an S for Stacy? No, that's Savvy Cents, SAVVYCENTS, and that's the wallet I have. It's a Savvy Cents wallet. You can get those on Amazon. That will only happen to you once, maybe twice, because if you go to the store, you spend all you have, then what are you going to do later? It is actually a little bit, it's more difficult and more impossible for you to overspend with cash than for you to overspend with a debit card. You get to the end of the month and you've spent all your grocery budget and you think, what am I going to do? I don't have any more cash. Well, you make do. That's what you do. But if you have debit, and Barry's mom works at a bank, so she sees this happen all the time, people have that cushion in their debit or that thing, what's it called, that bounce protection or whatever, that you actually have to pay interest on that, okay, guys? You have to pay interest on it, even if you pay it back. Well, for most banks you do. Maybe you don't at your bank. Now, so you go to the grocery store with your debit card, and you've already spent all that you budgeted for the month, and you still need some things. You're like, oh, well, I already went over my budget this month, but there's still some cushion in that account, so I'm going to go ahead and spend $100. You've just overstepped your budget by $100, where if you had stuck with cash, you wouldn't be able to do that. Because let me tell you something. They're not going to let you leave the grocery store without paying for it. So if you're using cash, oh yeah. Okay, where does the money come from for your wallet? Okay. They're not going to let you leave the store with your groceries unless you pay. That's pretty standard, unless you want to spend the evening in jail. So if you go with cash, you're not going to overspend, especially if you're having a problem with your debit or whatever. I would recommend until you learn to use cash, your debit card just stays at home in a drawer somewhere, and you don't even take it out with you until you learn how to be responsible and not use it as an emergency, because that's not what it is. Your emergencies come from your emergency fund, okay? So at the beginning of every month, we do a budget. I spoke about that last night, and you'll still see it at Catch if you want to go back. And then at that, what we do is we determine how much we need out in cash, and we write a check, and Barry takes it to the bank, and he gets it cashed, and we ask for small bills, and then I put it in my categories here, and I do like to have small bills because it's easier to make change. So they go in here, and then I have them as I go to the grocery store, and I can just take this with me anywhere that I need to go. So that's where our cash comes for each month. Now, whenever and then I get the question, whenever we want to buy online, what do? We use our debit card, but it's for something that we have already budgeted if we're going to use a debit. If we haven't already budgeted for it and we need to buy it online, then I get the money out of here. Like if I'm buying toilet paper on it. I know it's a smart wallet. It's so pretty. Like if I'm buying toilet paper on Amazon, I will buy it and purchase it, because a lot of times that's where I do get my toilet paper. It's just cheaper on Amazon most of the time. It will be delivered to my front door. But after I purchase it, I take the money out of my miscellaneous and I put it into an envelope that we keep in the drawer, and that money goes back into the checking account. But actually we use it the next month to pull our cash out of for envelopes again. So if I buy something online, the money still comes out of here and it goes into an envelope to be deposited or to be put back into envelopes for the next month. Does that make sense? Now, the same thing happens if I go to Target and I have some food. We get paid on the 15th and the 30th. At the beginning at first. Okay, I'll go over that in a second. If I go to Target and I have some food and some toiletries and some gifts, I still just get one. I put it all together on one, but then I estimate how much needs to come out of each folder. And then I will, like, if I bought a $10 gift, I'll pull $10 out of gifts and put it into grocery and just pay everything out of grocery. And that's why it's so important whenever you do your budget not to get all large bills, but to get, you know, smaller bills, 1s and 5s and 10s. And that will be a lot easier for you to make change for yourself, especially when you're in that kind of situation. That will vary based on your needs. We've just learned over time how much we need by tracking our past expenses. So we keep in our budget spreadsheet, which is free on the blog, called Automating Your Budget, and that's at stacymakessense.com. So we can look back at past months and see, like, for example, how do we know how much we need to budget for heat or electricity this month? We will look back at last year's and guesstimate how much we need for this month, and that's how much we'll budget. If you have absolutely no idea, it's a shot in the dark, and you just guess to the best of your ability based on past bills. And then it will take you a few months, but then eventually you'll start knowing exactly how much you need to put in there. Now, somebody asked me a question, and I know I missed it. So if that was you, pop up and tell me again that I missed your question. And also at the end, I want you guys to give me some ideas for more things that you'd like to know about carrying cash. So we still buy online. And I just repay myself from the cash that I have on hand. Now, I told you guys that we had a credit card. We do have a credit card, but we don't use it like most people use it. We don't use it to make large purchases to get points back and that type of thing as a general rule. Now, we do use it if, per se, I needed to buy. A lot of times Barry and I do work on the side for people, and we don't get paid until later. We might purchase that on the credit card until we get paid so that it doesn't deplete our checking account. But that's usually for Barry's business work only, where he has to go on business trips, and he doesn't have a company card from his company, so we have to pay out of pocket, and then he has to get reimbursed. And we can't really afford for that much money to be coming out of our debit. We use automatic bill pay from our bank. That way we don't have to get out cash for that. And then we are not depleting our checking account for his business travel, and that will just come out. And then whenever he gets reimbursed from his company, then we just put that and pay off the credit card bill. We don't use level billing. We just pay attention to how much we've paid in the past. Would we? Maybe, if we lived in an area where we didn't know, but we have a wood stove, and in the summer I'm pretty stingy with how often I turn on the air conditioner, so our electric bill is really not that astronomical. I think level billing is whenever they estimate how much you're going to use each month and kind of divide it out over the 12 months of the year, so you're kind of paying the same each month instead of large bills in the winter when you have to use a lot of heat. Than in months in like May and June when you might not be using as much electricity. So I know a lot of areas offer that. I'm not sure if every area offers that, but like I said, we have a wood stove, and I'm stingy with the air conditioner, so that's not really been a problem for us. So, wow, that was a long scope. I'm so sorry, guys. I could talk about money for a long time. So just let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would like me to cover in another scope about cash or budgeting or my wallet. Again, this is a Savvy Sense wallet, S-A-V-V-Y Sense, C-E-N-T-S, and I got it from Amazon. And she has a whole bunch of different patterns, maybe like 10 or 12 different patterns, and I heard about this from the former Mrs. Jones on Instagram. She had one, and I was looking for something a bit more functional than the other wallet that I was carrying, because this has more functionality than some other budget envelopes that I've seen. So, how do you determine your grocery budget? I can do a whole scope on grocery budgets if that's of interest to anybody. I'd be happy to talk about grocery budgets because that's hard. Oh, LaDonna, thank you. Barry's a much better teacher than I am, but thank you very much. The mathematics side of budgeting. Could you give me a little bit more specifics on the mathematics that you mean? Okay, well then I'll definitely do one on grocery budgets. I don't do mathematics very well, and that's why we use the Excel spreadsheet that Barry set up. How do you rate kids in football games? We would probably do that on a month-to-month basis. That's why we make a different budget every single month based on what's happening that month. So if we had sports events, which my kids are still rather small right now, but we would do that on a month-to-month basis. Oh, that's sad. Hey, Christy, can you go to Google and I don't know if it's savvysense.com, but I know they actually have their own website where it's the same prices on Amazon, and you still have to pay the same shipping as Amazon. I just always buy things from Amazon because it's normal to me. But I would just Google SavvySense wallet, and it should bring up the website where you could buy, and maybe they would have all of their prints there instead. Because that's sad. I would want to print one too. Oh, I usually budget in advance for that. How to make... Okay, so on StacyMakesSense.com, the blog that Barry and I run, there is a... Okay, Caitlin, can you please repeat that because I got distracted by I'm still trying to talk about the budget spreadsheet. There is a budget spreadsheet that we use every single month, and it's got all the math done for me. So all we have to do is plug numbers in, and it automatically does all the math. And that's called Automating Your Budget at StacyMakesSense.com, and that's a free download of an Excel spreadsheet where you can fill in for yourself. And Barry's already done all the math and everything for you. So all you have to do is download that spreadsheet and then just plug your own numbers in, and then you're all good and set to go. So that is a really great thing that my awesome Smarty Pants husband did because, whew, I don't know anything about Excel. So that was completely and totally Barry Myers right there, everybody. So Caitlin, what was your question? I forget again. Or Tonetta, can you tell me? You have a fluctuating in. Rebecca, do you have Barry's book? I think he talks about fluctuating spending, and that you get that book for free whenever you're a subscriber at Stacy Makes Sense, and it should be at the very bottom of every single email. And I believe he does talk in there about how to budget if you have an irregular income. Okay, usually I know in advance if I need it, but actually wheat is not that expensive, so I'm able to usually buy my wheat directly from my grocery budget for the month, because wheat might run me about $50, and our grocery budget right now for a family of 5 is $450. So on a month when I do have to buy wheat, that doesn't knock that too much out. But for example, this month we're having an unexpected, well, it's not an unexpected expense. My dad is butchering a beef, and I'm going to have to pay for my half of that. So I will have to budget for that. So I would budget for that at the beginning of the month. So if I know I need to make a large purchase in the area of food, like half of a cow. Oh, Barry talks about that in his book too. I'm assuming you're Michelle or Shell. At StacyMakesSense.com you can get that, and he usually talks about that. And if he doesn't talk about that specifically, you can use the contact form on our website and send that question, and he's very good about answering those. You have a family of 10. That's awesome. Oh, yay, husband's on board with cash. Tanya. Oh, hello, Tanya. Nice to meet you. So definitely look at that book, and if it doesn't, because it's free, it's a short read. I hate when I have to purchase half a cow. Well, you know, I have to share the other half a cow with my parents. I can't take the whole cow to myself. How selfish is that? Oh, yeah, I can, yeah, I can do, like, maybe a next Sam's trip. I need to make one. But I will say that that's why it's so very, very important to budget every single month, because of expenses that will come up. You can't make one budget and think it's going to stick with you every single month. So whenever you budget from month to month, you can plan in advance for unexpected or large bulk purchases like 50 pounds of wheat or 50 pounds of sucanat, or, you know, 2 gallons of honey. You can do those in advance. So I will do a scope on grocery budgets, but tomorrow I'm going to be talking about downsizing the mommy purse. So that's what we'll scope about tomorrow. And also, just make sure you check out the Automating Your Budget free download at stacymakesense.com and the free ebook that Barry wrote with all the free printables that you need to do a budget. Tell the money where to go. That's why. And Dave says, so you don't wonder where it went. So you can download that free book and print out all those forms for irregular income, cash flow, calendar, and all of that stuff that Barry has already made out for you. So all you have to do is print it off for free. And if we haven't answered any of your questions, or you have a specific question about your specific, because everybody's lot in life is different. So I can give you an overall idea. But if you need to ask a very specific question, there's a contact form tab on Stacy Makes Sense, and you can go there and click on that and contact us that way. And we're very good about getting back to you and helping you answer questions and getting things figured out. So thank you for tuning in, and I'm sorry I talked for so long. I will try to do better next time, and I hope you guys will chime in and watch me tomorrow. I probably will have to do another night scope tomorrow because Annie has Bitty Bright's Bible study, and I won't be home in the afternoon. So thank you guys very much for chiming in and for all the hearts, and I really enjoy talking with you guys, and no matter the length. Okay, yay for night scopes. Okay, well, I'll try to do some for Rebecca and some for not. So I hope you all have a good evening and a good night's rest, and thank you for the hearts, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and yeah, use cash.